practice?
Whatever
Yesterday we
you
discussed
are
on
given that
question.
interview questions, whatever
Mhm.
you are given the interview questions, we have started that questions and tackle that
Okay.
questions. Uh,
Mhm.
Main thing is that for GitHubs, we are not touch it yet. We
Okay.
will touch that GitHub in next week. Because thing is that for the GitHubs, we have just set up the accounts and other things. Rest the things are
Okay.
pending.
Mhm.
So we required some time for that.
Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah, only the practice is the friend who can increase the confidence. So having more and more practice, that will get more confidence on that. So when we face the real-time interviews, the interview panel might ask different cross question or the scenario-based situations. So if we have a good command over the practice, so we can answer any cross question. Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, sir. It's
Okay,
visible.
so going forward, we are now today on this Jenkins part. Then CI/CD pipeline, I purposefully just keep as a last because I want to set up the complete pipeline, and I want to show you the complete real-time flow, like how the builds process happen, then your sonar cube checks, how we can integrate the sonar cubes, and then further deployment, which is the CI/CD process. So now I am just covering the just basic part of this Jenkins. What is the Jenkins? How we can install that? How we can set up this any additional plugins and this user management and master slave architecture, because the company who use Jenkins, they mostly set up this master slave architecture. Then how we can check the logs and Docker ECS container. Then after this Kubernetes and Terraform, we can start with this separately for this live projects, which we can build complete CI/CD pipeline. So in that case, I will try to definitely I will try first with the Jenkins and then I will try with this GitHub action, because now most of the company are moving gradually to these other tools apart from this Jenkins. Okay, then we have this monitoring stuff, which we can set up this Nagios and Grafana. CloudWatch we already covered, so that is no issues. And these some of the live projects we can set up as part of the CI/CD pipeline. Then just general discussion on this, how the real-time project happens, like daily stand-up calls, sprint planning, Jira workflow, your multiple team coordination, for what purpose we coordinate with the multiple teams. Then how the corporate work culture. So the person who already has the experience, so that might be not require this topic, but the person who just don't have any IT industry experience or freshers, so that might be help. And we can see some, I will take some mock interviews for everyone. First interview for the just to check the how you gain the knowledge, and then any additional feedback. Then we can just review one by one your resume basically. Also, I'm side by side. Once this batch cover at this, I will get some sufficient time. So I will prepare 2 3 random resume. Okay. Also, I have uploaded the resume samples here. We were just discussing. So in shared drive, you will get that here. Ben, this resume I have already shared with you, you and Jatin. So this in entry preparation, you will see this resume samples, and I have uploaded this to zip files. So for your resume building, you can just refer anyone or any point there from there, like any roles and responsibility and the task performed. I will definitely guide you which topic you can add, because sometimes if you don't know which topics we add, and if you add that and by mistake if any panel asks the question on that, then you might be trouble. So he can identify easily like you don't have any real time experience like that. Okay. And As for the notes, I am just preparing side by side, so don't worry about that. So definitely this is a long, as I said, this is long term project, so I am preparing the well documentation. So going forward, I will just reformat it properly with the topic wise, and I will share on this share folder. So nowadays I'm just adding this side by side here, like you can see here. This is I'm just preparing for the Jenkins, Docker as well, and this your Linux notes. Okay, and Git one. So here I need to add more things here. I will add them as part of the interview preparation topic. Okay. So now we can see with this Jenkins. Anyone heard the word or anyone worked before on the Jenkins or any other CI/CD tools? Or anyone, not you, but in your any team members?
Yes, now that I haven't worked on that Jenkins, but I have heard about it. Like it is used to uh, trigger some bits from other teams. So they are always used to come up to us and say the build failed. It was triggered from
Mhm.
Jenkins, something like that.
So is that a different team?
Yeah, that's a different team.
Okay.
So what I know is the Jenkins using Jenkins platforms, they just push their something code, I think, and if their build
Mhm.
gets triggered at some particular time, and sometimes it fails due to some error, and
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I know only. Yeah.
Okay, no issues. So yeah, before the Jenkins or any other CI/CD tools, some organization or any startups they might do manual deployments by using this either FileZilla. This is a FTP client or any other tool like I think WinSCP something. Yeah, WinSCP as well. It supports manual file deploy and the download and upload. Let's say you have a EC2 servers where PHP based application or HTML based application, your website is working on that EC2 instance, and you want to deploy anything. Let's say you don't have any pipeline like CI/CD pipeline, then how you can do this manual deployment? So people can use these tools, either FTP FileZilla client or this WinSCP, or there might be another tools. I don't know, but you can search on the internet. But these are the most use cases where people use WinSCP and the FileZilla. So where you can easily upload and download the files. If you want to deploy something on the EC2 servers, you can use to upload this any local files to your remote server. So you can just use first connect your servers and you can do easily. But that is a traditional approach. So nowadays, mostly most of the organization never follow this strategy. So they use lots of other tools. As I said, there are multiple tools available like Harness. If you remember, I discussed last time. This is the modern software delivery CI/CD tools. Then your another tool is like GoCD. This one open source CI/CD tool. Jenkins definitely we are going to see today. Then your GitHub action. For GitHub action, you need to write the files, YAML files, so we can definitely see that GitHub action as well, and GitLab CI/CD. GitLab CI/CD. Some of the projects I seen personally, so people use this as well. GitLab CI/CD. And the enter in the enterprise license, you will get that options. Even you can, if you want to do practice similar like GitHub, you can also sign up your account for this as well. Hmm, Go. You can simply just sign in or sign up here first, and you can using. It's similar to GitHub. These are the web hosting platform where you can store your code on the repository, and you can just start using from anywhere. where you want to access this. Okay, they have a different plans. If you go to this, okay, yeah, we need to first sign up with either your Google account or any other to use the free tier. Or they have a community edition as well. Let me check. GitLab community edition. This one I think paid one. You can also sign up for community edition as well. They have a two setup. One is you can directly use this web-based application, or you can install on your EC2 as well. Let's say if I search install GitLab on EC2. So in previous organization we set up that GitLab, but we not use as a CI/CD pipeline. We use just hosting the repository. Okay, so you can easily install that for your Linux based machine. It's a community edition, so you can use for that as well. Additionally, if you want to see the practice, you can definitely try this one, okay, or any other links. You can easily search on the internet. You can see this community edition. You can just not sign in. Also, last time I shared some of the reference URLs. I hope you might went through that as well, like what is the Jenkins servers and how it works. So installation is very simple. It's not a complex one. Even you can, I just get this URL for your reference, so you can easily install. The only prerequisite for this Jenkins is as a Jenkins is a Java based platform, the written in Java language. So first you need to install the Java, which is either 11 version or any latest stable version on your system. EC2 instance where you want to install the Jenkins. Then we use Jenkins server for the continuous integration and the continuous deployment strategy like CI/CD tool. And for that, let's say, as we see in the traditional approach where people use FileZilla or SFTP or any SFTP tools, client or WinSAP like that to deploy any applications code. But in today's world, mostly company use CI/CD tool, either it enterprise license or community edition. It's depend on that and enterprise company to company standards. Then for that, as a market growing very faster, and we don't want to any manual mistakes as a human error. If let's say in the deployment, if you miss any single files during the deployments, so that would happen in the manual approach. But in this, once we pushed everything code in the GitLab or your Git project, so that will trigger the your pipeline basically, and it will happen the process like your building process, your sonar code quality checks, other testing, and then further process for the CD part like deployment. And when we do the deployment, it's don't not even directly go to the production one. First, it should be on the your dev environment, then your QA and your production one. Sometimes people use for the QA environment UAT or any integration environment. So that is depend their project to project, but don't confuse with that. Dev environment is your similar to non-production, which you can use for continuous deployment where no manual integration like or any additional approval required, as we need to deploy the lots of feature changes and we want to see is that working properly or not before moving to further environment like UAT QA or your production one. And QA team will definitely verify that changes whatever you are going to deploy. That is a different process that Jira workflow you need to follow. Okay, as a minimum OS configuration, you can take at least minimum 2 GB RAM servers, which can be your T2 micro, T3 micro, T3 medium, I guess. But if you can go with the more than that, that will be very useful because it's consume some memory power. So to make more performance better, you can go with this C4 series or something. Or you can try with the as a free tier account, you can try with this minimum like T3 micro as a free tier eligibility. So for these cases, so there are different things we can definitely see like Jenkins files, scripted pipeline. So that I want to cover in the CI/CD pipeline. because in the Jenkins people follow sometimes declarative pipeline, multi-branch strategy as well. So I have make a note of that as well. So I want to see that one when we do the CI/CD pipeline setup. Somewhere I mentioned, yeah, here declarative scripted on multi-branch. So you might get the interview questions like what, how you can deploy with this multi-branch strategy. So there are lots of options in the Jenkins as a variables parameterize. So I want to show that as well going forward. So now we can see the just Jenkins installation part. Any questions till now? Anyone? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So for that, first we can quickly create the instance, the which you obviously know this, how to create the servers. Can give any name. I'm for this I'm just selecting Ubuntu because it supported most of the packages quickly. So there are latest version release Ubuntu 2024, but as I have done some practice on this 22, I can just select this one. Uh, if you want to do practice for 24 version, you can definitely go with that as well. Or just check this Ubuntu server 22 to 24 version difference, what changes they have made. So you can try anyone. An instance type, I can go with this C4 series for the better performance. And key pair, I can use existing one. Network, so VPC I can select for this demo VPC. It should be on the public subnet, okay. And then remaining settings like security groups. Or just to show you, I can go with this new security group as well. Let me show you that. Jenkins DevOps security group. So port wise, definitely I can go with this SSH anywhere. And additional port I want to open. Jenkins works on the 8080 port. Okay. Or let me come back to this later part. I can, so I want to show you that how we can open the custom port. This is just for the SSH and remaining stuff and just launch it. Because some services not you cannot find in the security groups where we normally find the SSH, RDP, MySQL port or your other PostgreSQL port like that. Windows RDP, but some services port like any custom ports, your MongoDB like 270717 or any other ports like this Jenkins Java base 8080, you cannot find in that security group. So how you can open that port? So for that you need to use options as a custom TCP rule, and then you can open it. Otherwise you will get panic like where I can find this Jenkins service. So first we can install this
From where we
Jenkins.
need to open that port?
Yeah, I will come to that. So for that purposefully, I have not opened that security group. So I want to show you that as well, how we can open any custom ports. So this is the Jenkins server created. So we can use this IP address to connect it. Okay. And we can use putty. Not this one. Let me open new session. This session I just saved. Just I need to replace the IP address. This is everyone clear, right? How we can how you use putty to connect the servers. We have seen last time.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
So I can simply change the IP address and accept it. For Ubuntu, you need to enter the username as a Ubuntu, okay, not the EC2 user. I hope font is visible to everyone.
Yeah, it's
First
good for
step,
me.
yeah, first step is you, as a this is the Ubuntu based system, so yum will not work here. So you can use apt get and update. Okay,
So,
I'm already in
John,
the root. Yeah,
so where we used to have EC2 dash user, then we can just write Ubuntu there, right?
for Amazon Linux and other CentOS kind of things,
Yes, if we are
not the
connected
CentOS.
to Ubuntu with
Uh,
SSH, you can just write in Ubuntu instead of EC2 dash user, right?
For Amazon Linux or Red Hat something, you can use EC2 dash user, and for
Yes.
Ubuntu OS, you can use Ubuntu as a username.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. And first, things like once you connected to the servers, first do the yum update. So why we need to do this update? Because whenever this template generated from the AWS, they have published in this OS where we can select. So till after that, there might be any minor changes happen on the OS side. So that we need to update by this. Then we can do one more thing. That is the first things. Okay, yum update. Then we can follow the first, as I said, for the Java Jenkins prerequisites, we need to install either Java 8 or 11, or mostly now 8 is outdated. So you can go with any latest stable version. Okay. So I have already collected the some of the commands here, so you can just easily follow. I will share this one. Also, I will share this reference link as well, where you can go in and deep dive in the details, the meaning of these commands. So this is just to update the minor packages. Now I want to install the latest. There might be a different latest version 22 or something, but I can just install for now 11 version of the Java. Okay, this is the open jdk jre file where it will automatically install the Java package. So you can simply this copy paste. But during copy paste, if you miss any words in the command, you might get the error. So just keep focus on that. It will take a little bit time. If your internet speed and the server is minimum, so it might take more time, but not that 30 minutes or something, just within a 1 minute something. Let's say you have copy paste something and somehow you so this, let's say you have made this kind of mistake just during the copy paste. So this kind of just a mistake you can avoid, like do proper copy paste or just simply type the command, so you can do proper installation. Then this command Java version, you can easily check the Java version is installed or not. You can see the Java version 11 has been installed. So one prerequisite is already fulfilled, and the OS level we have already covered, like C4 series we have taken. So that is not an issue. Now coming to this Jenkins installation. So we need to first add the repository where this Jenkins package will pull, okay, from the centralized repo. So for that, we need to first add that key. This is the key and this is the repo. And then we can do one more time apt get update. And now you can install the package. Apt install Jenkins.
Now, whatever the repos are there, where it will be stored in the repos file or what?
Which one?
This
You can see
uh,
that file in this location. slash etc apt sources dot list d. This is just a centralized repository where this supported package will fetch for the Ubuntu base.
Okay.
If you search like this, let's say this URL, so you will get all the packages there, list of packages. Because this is the from their community team, like Debian or Ubuntu, whichever they have the company manage. So whatever that they building the packages for any, let's say any libraries, so they do changes on this centralized repo. So as a user, we can just pull those repo from their location, like we are adding this way. Okay. So then during this execution of this command, this will refer as a local repo where he is pulling to install these packages. If that package is not available in this repo, so you might get the issue like a package not found or something. You might experience this earlier during the working.
Yes.
Okay, it's directly downloaded. But let me show you one more thing. If I have here plugins, blog success stories. No, this is just official Jenkins. Or this one. See, this is one of the repository rpmfind.net. So you can see the different versions here. But individual versions, we don't need to go and install. We can just simply add this repo in our local system in Linux base. Okay. And then it will automatically fetch when we execute any commands. Like let's say we are trying for the Jenkins, so it will automatically fetch from their repo. So that is it how it works. Then now we have installed the command, which one we have executed last. Yum update. Okay. So now we need to install the Jenkins. Jenkins installation is very easy. You can see there are just only few commands, but after that is the main game. How you set up everything like pipeline, your basic security settings or other stuffs. We will deep dive in today. I used Jenkins before how much years? 4 years or something. So now might be there are different changes happening because after that I use move to that GitLab CI/CD, GitHub Actions and other things. So in even now new generation organization, I think not following this Jenkins pattern, or they use either a GitLab runner CI/CD or GitHub Actions or other tools. For the repository, they use JFrog. If you remember that, or anyone heard about this? Anyone heard about this JFrog? We will see that in the CI/CD pipeline. So let me add that point as well. If I miss, so Docker Hub, you aware, right? How we can push the Docker image or ECR registry,
Nah.
right? The ECR container registry or Docker Hub.
No.
Anyone? Rohit or is Rohit joined today? Okay, no. So whatever the container register, sorry, Docker images we will generate, we can push this. We can use for that JFrog Artifactory as well to store the images for the Docker. Let me add here JFrog. JFrog, the spelling Artifactory. Okay, so it has been installed. So now first thing we need to do, like, check the service. By default it will start. Okay, you can see the status is active, which is running. Okay, so one more command we need to execute here, uh, which is in Windows we do normally on boot start. Let's say tomorrow or somewhere we rebooted this machine, Jenkins servers for stop and start. So that service automatically it should be start. Okay, on boot. So that's why we need to enable run the command, this one, sudo systemctl enable command. Okay, so this will make your Jenkins service auto start when the service server got rebooted. So if you want to check this practically, let me reboot this quickly. It will not take too much time, so at least you can aware. So you should not forget this command of this execution. So this is a server, so let me reboot it. So as you can see, we have this Jenkins server and we have not attached any public elastic IP address. Okay, so will that IP address change during the reboot?
Yes.
Yes, it should.
Really?
Yes. Yes. The public will change.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Hmm? एकदम 5 मिनट. Are you surprised? IP address didn't get changed. You can see the uptime is 0 minutes. Non-elastic IP address will only change if we stop and start the server. During the reboot system, it will not change. It will remain same. You can see 43223. Okay. So now if I can quickly check the service, let me clear. Or first check this service rebooted or not, or automatically start or not. Okay, you can see it's still active. Now what I can do is I can stop it and start it. So now this IP address will change. It's 43.223. Okay. Okay, stop. So now let me start it. Start the instance. And now you will get the new IP address. See 65.156. So during the reboot of the system, it will not change the IP address. Only stop and start. Okay.
Sir, it means every time we get new IP address. Am I right? When we stop and
No,
restart the
only
system.
only only stop and
Okay,
start.
thank you.
And if you attach elastic IP address, so it will remain same. It will not change. So now we can just copy this new IP address and we can open new session. This is the saved configuration. I need to just replace the IP address. You can also save this kind of session because every time we don't want to add this all the details every time, it will save the time. This will ask the fingerprint, we can accept. And now if I check the status, this is just a 1 minute ago. And if I want to check the service status, system CTL status and sorry, not Nginx, Jenkins. Okay, so this command executed when we install that Jenkins. So, but in Amazon Linux, sometimes you might that command will not execute, but you need to enable this. Okay, by this command, systemctl enable Jenkins. Then, if I want to check that service is working with this which port, we can just quickly run this command netstat and see 8080 port on the Java base. Okay, here. So this is the command where you can check which service running on which port. And if I execute as stop here, you can see the number of process running. Now, what is the next step? By default, Jenkins generate one password. The location is this one, cat varlib Jenkins. Varlib Jenkins is the default document root for the Jenkins. Okay, this is the main document root. Just don't forget it. Like Nginx, varlib Nginx or USR share Nginx. So similar thing, varlib Jenkins for the Jenkins servers, default document root, where you will whatever the job configuration pipeline setup you are doing, that will completely stored in this document root under this Jenkins folder. Okay, I will show you that as well. So now next step is we can just copy this IP address and paste in the browser with the port 8080. Okay, so now this will not work because we haven't opened the security groups rules. So what you can do is we can go to this servers, open the security group for that Jenkins servers, open in right new tab. Okay, and in the inbound rule, just click on edit inbound rules. Now click on add rules, and here if you search like Jenkins, you will not find. Okay, so for that any custom rules, you can select this custom TCP rules. Okay, and add the port number 8080. If you want to open for particular IP address, then you can just use or just for now anywhere and just save it. Okay. Now, if I refresh this page, I will get the Jenkins page here. Okay, here you will get directly. So password location. So you need to copy. Either you can just simply copy exact line here. Just do copy and go to your Jenkins servers command line and simply use cat command. Okay, cat command we use to view the file content. Okay, and paste that URL as simple as you will get this randomly generated number, which is the password. Or second thing is like you can just go location like where leave Jenkins. In that you can see there are lots of folder and folder structure, jobs, node, plugins, user content or blah blah. Okay. Here inside that you need to go to the secrets folder. Okay. In that you will see that file initial admin password and you can just simply cat it. This is the second approach, but directly you can just do cat and just paste that URL. So directly you will get that randomly generated default password. Okay. Just copy it by double click and just paste it here and just continue. Now it will ask install the basic plugins which we can install. Initially you can go with this install suggested plugins. So whatever the Jenkins related plugins as a basic foundation that will automatically he will take. Okay. Then in future once Jenkins server is ready, we can add install the custom plugins. How we can install that, I will show you that. Okay. So this will take a little bit time. So meantime, anyone has any doubts? Installation is very easy. If you can try now, you can definitely try. Who want to try?
I'll be doing by tomorrow.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I will
Uh,
share
uh,
this list of commands. So it's very easy.
Namdev, I have one doubt. As you said, like we have to add that port number in security groups manually by selecting options like custom. So we selected anywhere, right? Just to allow it for the this time. But if
Yeah, yeah.
we instead of that we give a server's IP, Jenkins server's IP, so that should also work for this server, right?
No, that will
Like.
see this
Mhm.
is configuration firewall rule. So if I show you once more time, because this plugins installation might take some time. So let me open the security groups. Okay, you are saying this, right? Inbound rules.
Yes,
This
yes,
one. Okay. So instead of custom, if
yes.
we add only the Jenkins server IP address, so from our environment, like this is my IP address, so that will not allow this Jenkins server will not allow my network traffic to open this port. Like this is the dashboard, right? I am able to see. So why am I able to see? Because I added as anywhere. If I add Jenkins server IP address here, I am not able to see this dashboard. For that, I need to go to the Jenkins server first, then log in through the command line, which is the local host. So not from the here. This is just to allow the network
Okay,
traffic for particular port.
okay.
Either you can, let's say this is just for the practical. That's why we are adding the 00 here. This is the public IP address.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
in the company or real-time project, you need to add your VPN IP address. Every company has the VPN IP, right? So you can
Yes,
use
yes.
that.
Right.
So for the security point of view, you should access to Jenkins server to within your VPN network. First, you need to connect your VPN, whichever the Palo Alto or something, or any global protect or somewhere. Any company use different VPNs. It's depend on their
Mhm.
setup. List of VPN service company
Yeah,
use.
most of the such time I have seen Cisco VPN is there, and
Yeah, there are different things company use depend on their
mm,
budgeting or something because they are the licensed one, right?
yeah.
Our companies sometimes use their managed firewall, the way the network engineer person manage or create the VPN tunneling something. So that is something networking part which network team will manage.
Mhm. Okay, but if in case we have to manage the Jenkins through our Jenkins server via command line, so in that case we can give that IP, right? If we don't want to see the dashboard and all stuff, then in that case we can do, right?
Yes, yes. But if you want to check the pipeline status log, so how we can every time just doing the command line, it will be very hectic, right? So through the console, it will be very easy job to check the pipeline logs or something or configuration of the
Okay, okay.
pipeline like that. So
Mhm.
dashboard is a must. So you can
Okay.
open that.
So in real time also like we use dashboard, right? It's not only command line. We take the help of
Yes, yes,
dashboard
dashboard.
also. Okay, okay.
So it will ask first create the admin user. You can give either your name or any random name. But for now, I can go with this admin and just default password. You can keep strong password here, but just for the demo, I am just keeping the simple one admin 123. Okay. And username you can add like demo user or something. You can this will be a real email address if you are working for the project, but for now I am just adding random one just for the test. admin user, and just click continue. So this will be the Jenkins URL. You can just copy and save and finish. Okay. So this is the default dashboard for the Jenkins. If you want to check which Jenkins version you have installed, so on the normally bottom side it will come. For now the UI is changed. So you might see somewhere here. This is just for the Java. Okay, somewhere you can see that we will see here Jenkins 2.440. Okay, so this is the normal UI. First, when we ready with the Jenkins servers, we need to perform lots of security settings and other settings. So this is the UI. You can see the logout option here. The user which you have currently logged in with, you can see here credentials like that options. And if you want to build a new pipeline, you can just see here new item and you can give the pipeline name like that. But I will show you later. So first we can do some basic setup here. Till now, is everyone okay? The installation part and other things or any doubts?
No, it will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming, this is the main portal here, sorry, option here, manage Jenkins. From here, you can log in, manage everything, okay, related to this Jenkins. Let me ignore this because this is warning for the Java, which we have installed Java. So that's why he suggested like install the latest Java version. So you can try with the latest as well, whichever is 22 version or something or 21. First, we can go with the security part. Or let me check. Before security configuration, if I copy this IP address and open in the security, sorry, incognito mode, let me show you. I think they have removed this security point because last time when we use by default, it will give the sign up option here, but now he is not giving sign up option. So that was a security fault. So for that, we need to set up this security settings and disable that sign up button. So that was a security point. Okay, here allow user to sign up. If I click on this option and just save, if I open now in the incognito mode, you can see here or register. So this option should not be enabled by default. Okay, this is the security point of view. I think they have removed this in the latest version because this was a bug in the earlier version when we use for that project. So let me disable that because anyone can unnecessarily log in, register and this log into this system and do deployments or removal of your pipeline. So that was the security concern. Okay, and if I go to another one, so there are different things. Once you install this Jenkins, you can just play around that. I will show only some information here which is the relevant or important. Let's say user wise. As of now, we can see only admin user, which is the default user. If you want to create one more user for your team members, you can add. Let's say I will add for the demo and password is just giving the admin 123. admin 123. Okay, demo user, right? And create it. Okay, email address I need to give admin. Okay, so if I try now from here incognito, demo and password admin 123. Okay, this is the way you can create number of users in the Jenkins, but in the real-time company don't create everywhere application based users. Company use SSO based authentication like your any Windows Active Directory or any other SAML configuration. Okay, so this is just for your knowledge how we can create the additional user in the Jenkins, because let's say in our team we have a 2 3 DevOps team member, and if I have access, so I can create for other two members. Okay, so in the absence of my, so they can do the build configuration or any deployments. So that is the purpose of this options, manage Jenkins users. Okay, now coming to this any other configuration, let me check. Credentials config also there. You can add any additional credentials. We can see that when we to set up the pipeline, because when we integrate the GitHub repo here, we need to add the credentials as well for that repo access. So we can configure here. If I go to this system, you can see directly by default home directory varlib Jenkins. So this is the number of executors, how many jobs you want to allow to execute at a time for this Jenkins servers. If you make it like a 4 or 5, so at a time 4 builds will initiate. If you let's say you have a multiple pipelines for the dev test or different environments or projects, so if you can set up this limitation here. Okay, you cannot increase like 100 or something because it's ultimately depend on your EC2 instance where you install this Jenkins, because if that server capacity is very less, like 2 core CPU or the 4 GB memory, so it might be stuck there or the degradation of the performance, right? So you can just limit the number of executors here. So how many pipelines should be run at a time? In the project, let's say you have a custom domain, like if I go to DNS route entry here, route, because now we are using just a IP address. If you want to set up any domain name, because in the real time we will have a domain name, whichever the project we are using. So we can set up in the DNS entry. Let's say I'm using this AWS Guruji.net. If I add here Jenkins.awsguruji.net and let me point that IP address to here. You should add only IP address, okay, not this complete URL. Okay, and just the entry now. So how we can verify the DNS entry is updated or not? The website is dnswatch.info. You can just check, or you can use your ns lookup command or something and just search here hostname jenkins.aws.guruji.net. So see, so this IP address we have mapped, so it's coming. So now instead of IP address, I can go with this domain name and add the 8080. Okay, see. So first I need to update here as well in the configuration. Where it gone? Okay, we have already here. And your port number. As of now, we are giving the HTTP only. Okay, we have not installed any SSL certificate. If you have a load balancer and adding the certificate, then we can use HTTPS here. Okay, for the secure URL. But as since we don't have any load balancer integrated now, so I'm just adding the only plain link here, HTTP. Okay, and just save it. So now instead of the IP address, you can use this URL. If I want to log in one more time, admin 123. So this is the system admin email address. See, there are lots of options, but I am not going each one because sometimes it's related to us in the configuration or sometimes not. So that's why I'm just skipping those area. So this is the system admin email address. So whatever the anything's happen with your Jenkins servers or any other pipeline. So this is the default email address where you will get the every notification. So whatever the you have email address as a centralized, you can use that like support or something. For now, I am just adding the non-existing email address here. Okay. But whoever the root user, the admin who is managing the Jenkins, so you can add those email address here and just save it.
Namdev, what kind of notifications we will get if we give the email ID? I mean, the logs or the jobs logs, whatever generated, that will be sent. Or
This is related to Jenkins system, not the jobs. If I correct my words. Okay.
okay,
For the job system, I will show you that as well. If any job failure or any stuck or somewhere, failure success,
mm-hmm.
I will show you that as well. There is one more plugins that we need to install. So this is just a basic configuration I am just explaining before executing
Okay,
or configuring the jobs in the pipeline, Jenkins.
okay. So, like, what kind of notifications we get? The email ID which you gave just right now. So related to Jenkins means.
Any Jenkins system is any patches coming on or any activities, any maintenance, something. If I go to
Uh-huh.
that one more
Okay.
time, or let's say you have added any node here, slave architecture. So in that case, you might get
Okay.
if I click on here, notification email from the Jenkins project owner. So this is just for the by default project owner. He will get all the email address. Sorry, notification. We will see in the going forward, how we can get that. And time zone also, if you want to change, this is just a timestamp format. If I want to create folder structure here, you can add the folder structure like let's say dev environment, for example. Instead of freestyle project, you can just click on this folder and click here, and you can give the display name like dev, because in the real time you might have a different environments, dev, test, production, or any like any different projects where API, backend, front end. So like that, you can just maintain the folder structure. If you keep everything in the single folder, so it will be a mix, right? So you can segregate properly with the folder structure. Let's say this is the production one, day one. If I want to create a new more folder, let's say test folder, and inside that particular folder, you can create the jobs pipeline basically. So now they have done lots of changes in the UI. So you need to play around there which new options come. So you can see the dev and test. If you want to configure the jobs for the dev now, so you can just go inside that and you can set up new item here. Okay. So definitely we can just see any sample things here. Oh, I want to show you one more thing, or we can just install the plugins first because some plugins are missing. So we can go to this manage Jenkins and plugins. You can see this here available plugins and you can search. Let's say editable notification. I think that is by default. Let me check. Lots of plugins available for the Jenkins. If I want to integrate AWS in Jenkins, I can search AWS credentials. So I can configure the AWS credentials here and to deploy any Lambda functions or any services. Even if you can write the script here in the Jenkins pipeline as well, you can launch the EC2 servers as well to executing that bash. But for that, you need to integrate the credentials here. So you can use that credentials as well. So just to install any plugins, you can just search and just click on that plugins and you can just simply click on install this. Okay. You can see there are multiple plugins available like ECR, your ECS container, your IAM, Beanstalk. In earlier project, we use plugins for the Lambda function, Elastic Beanstalk, API gateway as well. Okay, so for the deployment for the backend project. So I will show you that as well because I have number of documents available. I will filter it out. This is the recorded session, so I don't want to expose those some concern. So, but today after this batch, I will collect the required configuration files and I will set up those and I will share with you guys as well. Okay. So lots of configuration available I have and the documentation. So I will give you each one. So plugins like that you can search like this, or just let's say for the Terraform as well. Sorry, you can see. I'm just not recalling the exact plugins name now for the Lambda function. Sorry, this one. It's authorization or something. Role-based authorization. Yes. I want to set up one settings here like let's say you have multiple team members and multiple projects. Let's say project one, project two, three like that. And one of the team member like user one, he want to deploy access or build access only for the project B. Okay, not for the all the projects. So that's a scenario you can configure this because giving unnecessary access to everyone, full access to the Jenkins server, that is not a good practice. So this is the role-based authorization we can set up to give only particular folder access as we have created for the dev, test, production or any different environment like front end, back end, something. So we can manage those policy from these plugins.
Uh,
2 minutes.
So we do we get the requirement what plugins will be needed to install while using the Jenkins from some other team, or in real time, like how it is, how we decide depends on situation what we are working, or we also receive some requirements from the other team.
If that kind of a custom project comes and they have designed as a developer, they have designed in custom plugins, then yes, you need to install that plugins first here. This is the supported plugins from the Jenkins itself, but there might be a different scenario where Java based plugins or any other plugins developer itself he design any custom plugins. that we can install through this advanced option. I will come to that part how we can upload. So just for I'm just uploading this just these plugins authorization and this authorized project. Also GitHub authentication as well because you want
Namdev,
to integrate
sorry,
GitHub repo.
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm leaving for this batch because thing is that my health
Okay.
is not good.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah. Just take care.
Yeah.
Okay. Just I just selected this. I will skip for now this AWS credentials, role-based authorization for the project and GitHub authentication and your folder base. So I will show you that way how we can install this. Install and restart after that. Then it will be reflect. And you can just checkbox this so it will automatically reboot after this plugins install. Okay, these are the pending ones. So now lots of options are has been changed in this Jenkins, so you can just play around. So I will also play more options because UI has been changed completely.
Is there any way like we can be just sure like what plugins we need to install? For example, we need to install Ansible or anything, and if we search for Ansible, it shows us five six options. So like how we
Mhm.
go ahead and decide which plugin to install, or is there any option there from which
In
where
that
can get the
plugins,
detail? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Below that plugins, you will see the definition. What is the purpose of that plugins? So by that you can just confirm like which plugins you can use.
Mhm. Okay,
I will
because in real
let's
time,
get restart. I will
uh,
show you. Yeah, yeah, correct.
yeah, yeah, because in real time as an engineer, if you want to set up Ansible and run it through Jenkins, so at that time we are the only one responsible to install and decide, right? Or is there anything any team will be telling us or guiding us on this part? So on that basis, I'm
If
asking.
there are any SOP or standard practice run books, so they will mention there. Or
Mm-hmm.
sometimes in the enterprise organization, they will have a different platform team. As we are aware, platform team will work on the infrastructure side mostly. So they will do setup from there as well if they working on that Jenkins part. But if any such a requirement comes, like let's say you need to deploy the Lambda function, for example. So we know as a
Mm-hmm.
DevOps engineer, we need to install the that's Lambda function related plugins. So let this restart. I will show you that as well how we can verify. So once
Mm-hmm.
we search that plugins, let's say Lambda. So if that comes 2 3 Lambda function plugins there, so in that description we need to understand like what is the meaning of these plugins and the other plugins. So based on that description, we can just select.
Okay.
Also, if I try to search here, let's say Ansible plugins name for Jenkins, let's say. Okay, this is the name and this is the other setup, but let me search this complete domain. And if I search here Ansible, let's see how much plugins will come. See, this is the two things, right? The Ansible Tower and Ansible. So Tower, anyone has experience in this? Because I don't have in the Ansible. This is just to invoke Ansible ad hoc commands and playbooks. So you can definitely by this description, you can just go with that as well. Because ultimately we want to run the playbooks, right? Is that correct?
Yes, yes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, many of the times I'm also not sure about Ansible Tower, but many of the times I have seen the Ansible Tower on one of the server. It is set up in the environment, and many of the things are done from that. So during that time, we need to connect to that server. So probably if our infrastructure has that kind of setup, then we might require that.
Mhm. So whichever the supported plugins is there, we can just definitely go and install that. So this is just for the Lambda, and it has a multiple different use cases. Like let's say this Lambda function, this plugins allows you to upload a zip folder, zip file or folder to AWS Lambda. This is required, so we need to install that as well. And this for the adds to the pipeline step Lambda function test runner. So this is just to test the Lambda function. So if we require that during the that setup, so definitely we can install that as well, the supported plugins. And when we configure the Jenkins jobs, I will show you that freestyle jobs for now today. We can just see that which option how it comes if you install the proper plugins. It's taking too much time. Let me refresh. Okay, admin. Similar to any Linux server patches, the Jenkins related package also it comes here and under updates. You can patch that by taking the proper precautions. Advanced settings. If you have additional plugins which designed by the your developer or something, we can just deploy from here. So they will provide all the necessary files here. So we can just upload and just deploy that by selecting this option. Available plugins. If I search Ansible here, see as we have get the result here. So same thing here as well. Ansible tower and Ansible. So you can see this kind of description here. If you want more details, so I think we can just select on this and we will get the more idea. What is the use case of this plugins? So by this we can just decide like which plugins we need to select. If you want to, let's say you have by mistake delete install any wrong plugins, so definitely you can delete that as well. Just go to this install plugins. You can search that and you can just remove those from here. Let me go to this manage Jenkins one more time, or just come back to this folder structure. Let me check. Configure option is here. Okay. Okay, that option is not here. Might be in the different use cases. This is the project details like or before I this showing and let me just configure any sample jobs. let's say this dev new item, for example, day one pipeline number, then select this freestyle project here and just click on OK. You will see all the configurations options here. You can add the pipeline configuration like this is for testing project. See here as well, you will see lots of option here. So if you click on this question button, so you can get the more details. This is just to discard the old builds. Let's say similar to like deleting the old builds. Let's say you want to keep only the last 10 successfully builds jobs, and remaining after that 10 you want to delete automatically, because if you say number of jobs on this Jenkins server, it ultimately consume the disk space of the Jenkins server, right? So that is the reason we need to discard the older builds, like let's say keep only last 5 or 10 builds, and older than that you can just delete it automatically. Okay, and you can just simply select this option, log rotation. Days to keep builds, you can say like 5 days. Maximum build to keep, let's say 10. So automatically it will be delete. Okay. I want to just, I don't want to use for now. Okay. So if you have any GitHub, you need to add the GitHub project URL here. And under this source code management, you can use your Git repository from which repo you want to fetch anything. Let's say GitHub. So if I want to use this, I can use HTTPS there. That URL you can just paste. Okay. And here we need to add the credentials, whichever the credentials available. Okay. So let me check if my credentials work here, because we haven't added any new credentials. Let me ignore for now. Branch name, because every repository we have a branch, right? Main, or you are any other feature branch something. So you can, this is the pattern how you can give the branch name. So whatever the branch name, before that you can add this all the configuration like start slash. I will show you that schedule the builds every 5 minutes. It will automatically check the any changes happen on your repository, and it will if you detect any new changes developer pushed, he will start the deployment. Okay. For now, I just want to show you the blank pipeline. That's why I'm just not adding the more details, because we will try to cover each settings in the separate CI/CD pipeline project. So once all the configuration completed, let's say, for example, you can just see this kind of options. You have this option now, build now. So you can just schedule that and it will start building. So if everything is fine with your configuration, it will be give the here success window. Okay. And if you click on this console output, you can see detail output of the pipeline. Let's say who started this build. Okay, as the admin user, I am just started. But if it's triggered by the webhook integration, it will show like that. Then as we don't have anything configuration here, so it is just a simple configuration. You can see all the output like cloning the repository, then initialize this basic commands like that. Okay, and finally you can see the build status here, finished success. Okay, so now one more options I can show you here, that's available or not, or otherwise we can install that plugin. Come back to this pipeline. Okay, and just come to this configuration part. build action, we have this editable email notification option. So I want to just check that. Yeah, that is the default one. You can see we need to add the recipient address here. Let's say how we can add separately, comma separated, right? Okay. So every time when the build got success or failure, you will see that success message or failure. So at least you can get the idea like build is running properly or any failures are there. So you can just go to that particular build and just open that and you can see the output. What is the wrong happen there or any other message. As of now, I have not added the MTP server, which is the send mail with the email. So we need to use send mail servers. So for that, I will set up the SMTP servers there. So at least we can get the notification. So you can see build number like that, #1, #2. If I go to on that particular build, I will see email pipeline configuration. Attachment option you can see here. Compression, attach the log. So in the email itself, you will get this complete log as well. So you don't need to come to this Jenkins server and check what will happen. It will attach the configuration as well on the email address. And if I go to this advanced option, you can see here the failure any, or if I want to add one more, let's say always. Okay, because I need all the status of this pipeline. So that's why I just use the always here. This was just for the failure purpose. Let me remove that. And these are the sending email address like developers and recipient list. So that email address you can configure in this build job configuration. If I go to configure, here you can just give the comma and you can add email address of your team members. So they will get the pipeline status. It's executed or not. Okay, this is just a basic configuration of this. If you go to manage Jenkins, you will see lots of options there like tools, system configuration, plugins, appearance. If you want to change the theme of this Jenkins servers, so you can see this as well. If you make a dark, this will look like. Okay, if you want to add more credentials, you can add from here as well. Where it's that option, let's say global. So that option should come here like configuration. Let me check. Yes, here add credentials. You can add the, let's say, GitHub app is asking ID or something. Okay, if I use username here, let me add any random credentials here. For example, GitHub credentials and create. If I go back to this dashboard now, let's see that coming here or not. Let me refresh. You can see this green status now because the job get succeed. If you get any failure, you will get the red color. Okay, here different color for the failure. In the credentials, if I search, you can see now. So this way you can just configure your credentials there from the manage Jenkins, because we are getting the credentials from the repository, right? To for the any git pulling and fetching. So that's why we need to set up that credentials as well. And if you want to do any deployment for the AWS services, that access key and secret key, we need to install first plugins we need to install, and then we can get those options to set up the access key and secret key. Once installed, you can just play around this all the options. So you will get lots of options there. If you want to add any environment variables, you can add here as well. So you can use that pipeline. This is for the mail service, because without configuration mail service, that server will not work, like a job status sending the to the email address. So we need to add the SMTP server details here. As we don't have any SMTP servers configured like send mail, so we can use either Google free send mail settings, Gmail SMTP settings for Jenkins, let's say. So SMTP servers we need to add like this URLs, SMTP details, and your
Sir,
address you can
your
because the
voice
how
is
it's
broken.
how it will send the voice is
Namdev sir,
breaking.
your voice is broken. Sir, am I
Okay.
audible? The voice is
Yes, yes,
little bit
audible.
broken.
Yes, yes, audible. Now am I clear?
Your voice is little bit broken, sir.
Yes, that was getting.
Let me switch. Is it audible now or just breaking?
Mm, yeah, it's audible, but in between it's still breaking.
Okay. Let me switch my network there. Okay, is it audible now?
Yes, sir. That's clear.
Okay. So I was saying we can because real time we will have a definitely sendmail server configuration where we can add those SMTP details to send the email for any pipeline status, failure or success. But as we are doing for the personal configuration, so we can use Gmail address. You can set up Gmail address as I said here, smtp.gmail.com or something, and their port number. So during the build pipeline setup, so if let's say build got succeed or fail, that will send the email address to that recipient address, whatever we have mentioned there. So for before that, we can add the SMTP details in that configuration here. Let's say smtp.gmail.com. So today night I will test this all the settings. So then in next session, Saturday, I will show you in the details because there are lots of things are there like I just need to show you master slave architecture. So this is the option, node option. We need to add, we can add the your slave agent here. Let's just slave this option. Just we need to create and but before that we need to follow some certain process like creating the private key for that private key and public key, adding the one more servers like creating the servers as EC2, make the SSH connection, passwordless authentication, and we need to set up that further. So I will show you that in the next session. So meantime, I will give you some of the links so you can just refer and I will play around this because UI has been changed completely. Tools configuration, we have seen that plugins for addition or removal. Credentials, just to add one more credentials here, any related to your GitHub or any AWS credentials or other stuffs or any other applications credentials. This is just to create any other admin user here. Okay. If I go to configure, you can see the details here, credentials, email address. Time zone you can select from here. These are the just basic configuration for the user. So any other questions before wrap up for today? So there are a lot of things pending. So we will cover in the next Saturday because people use sometimes Jenkins as well. And you might seen in the JD as well, Jenkins or any GitHub action something. Anyone observe that? If you read properly the JD for the DevOps.
Yes, I have seen it like many times.
Okay, so let me quickly show I got that option now. Let me search here Jenkins dot AWS yes. If I log into this demo user, so by logging this, I can see all the options and I can do whatever the admin can do, right? Because you can see here authorization logged in users can do anything. Okay, but this is not a good practice in the real time. So for that, we just if you remember initially we install one plugins, right? This matrix based security, project based security, if you remember. So that we can configure here. So let's say we have the folder structure day one test. So let's say demo user, I want to give only access for the dev environment, for example. So we can set up that as well. You can see this kind of options here. Let's say project based matrix authorization. Just click on this add user, search the username. Let's say demo user. Click on this. If that username is correct, you will see. So here, sorry, I don't want to give all the access. I can just give only particular access like overall, let's say read access, or for just for this session, only read access. Then I don't want to give the create or delete access here or any configuration update or replay. Just for the workspace, I will give the access only for the read. This is for the job, okay? Let's say building the jobs, definitely I want to give and create the jobs.
What is the
Okay, this
meaning
is
of
the way.
discover in the job section? There is a yeah.
If you move cursor over there, you will see this option here. This permission grants discover access to jobs lower than read permission. It allows user to redirect anonymous users to log in them. They can access the job URL without they getting 404. Okay, we can definitely read more about this. This permission implemented by the job read. I think it's
Couldn't
more
be
into
able
the
to I think it is
you can
saying that
explore.
it is kind of
Hmm.
yeah, it is kind of read permission only, but it has lesser privilege than that. And if anyone tries the user which is having that particular privilege tries to access, he will able to open the job URL, but he won't receive the error, but he won't be able to see the project once.
So for now, we can give only the read access. Let's see how it works. I'm just removing build permission as well and create as well. Okay. Just for the job, he can only do the read and let's say create, create and build. So let's check one by one. If I save, if I refresh this session now, overall read permission is missing. Okay. So where we okay, overall read permission we need to give. Yes, overall read we can grant it. Yes, administrator we can avoid. Just let me apply, save, and just come back to this and refresh. Yeah. So I think one more thing I missed because I haven't added this dev folder. So let me check that as well. So that is my main agenda. Where I can find that. Let me check. This is for the groups. Okay, let me check on the different stack. So if I refresh now, I am just able to see as I'm logging through the demo user. If I go to this dev, let me try to create new pipeline here. Let's say test freestyle project and just okay. Acha, I was just given the build project, right? Permission. So let me remove that. under the security, build and create. So I'm just giving only the read only permission. Let me save it. If I refresh now, under this dev folder, so now you can see there is no new item option here because I don't want to give the uh, option that demo user can create one more pipeline here. So this is the matrix-based policy you can assign. So now one more agenda I want to show you like quickly. So that folder wise access. Now I can able to see those folders, but not that item new item option here to create the new pipeline because I disabled that permission. So let me check with that admin user, how I can set up that option. If I go to this dev user and go to this configure, enable project based security. Okay, if I enable this, yes, I am getting that option now. If I click on user and add the demo user here, okay, and give only read only permission and click save. If I go back now, okay, let's say for the demo dev users, dev folder, we can try to give the full access. Let's see. Only for the this dev folder, click apply and okay. But at the same time, let's say for the test, configure, enable project based auth security, add. So here I cannot add the demo user. Authenticated user can only. Let me check this option first. Okay. If I refresh now, so now I can see under the dev folder, I'm able to see this all the options like configure, new item, and the other stuff, right? Earlier I just removed the permission. That's why it's these options were missing. Let me check for the test folder as well. For test folder, I'm able to see that option, but let me check. I think I missed somewhere some settings. So let me try.
I didn't get one thing, like why we were not able to add demo user under test folder, um, like to give the permissions.
Yeah, I want to give permission for only authenticated users. So let me try one more option. Let's configure authenticated user. Let me remove this demo user. Or we can give only the specific permission for the test folder only. we can give the read permission only, not for the complete permission. Overall read permission, view permission. So now you can see in the inside the test folder, now demo user can see this configure new item. So now we are removing that permission to that user. Let's apply and let's check now. If I refresh, see those permission gone, because my motto is to that demo user can only able to access and build the pipeline inside the dev folder only for the dev environment, not for the test environment. So that is the reason you can see inside the test folder, you can see there is a no option to build a new pipeline. But at the same time, in the dev folder, you can see configure new item. So this is the way you can just restrict that particular user permission wise. Also, you can see he can able to delete the folders as well. Okay. So if you want to remove that folder, delete folder options as well. So you can just play around this all the configurations here, whatever we are setting. Let's say for the dev folder, configure and go to this. So instead of giving all the full access, you can just give particular access as well, like read, create, configure, update, replay, something like that, and then not move, create, cancel, build pipeline or view like that, and just click on apply and save. If I refresh now, you can see I can now only build the new pipeline, but I cannot access more options like delete the folders or something. So this is the more advanced options like how you can restrict to particular users. So unnecessary that person should not delete any files or folders by mistakenly in your Jenkins servers. Is that fine till now?
Yeah, it's good for me.
We
Okay,
haven't
sir.
fully integrated with the GitHub server as of now to see more options, but just I just show the basic options like how we can do the user management in the Jenkins. So in next week we will come to more features. Okay, so I will show you that option as well. So lots of things are pending now, like master slave architecture or other stuffs.